Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. Well, today I'm going to be continuing on with my Castlevania 3 series. Started off doing obviously Castlevania 1, and then I moved on to Castlevania 2, which I completed, and now Castlevania 3. Been a long time since I actually completed this game. I used to play this a lot when I first got the game, and that was a long time ago. So I don't know if I can actually complete it anymore. You know, you kind of get rusty after a while. I'm just going to shut down some windows here. Open up the game. I always love the animation and the intro of this game. But for this one, I'm gonna. So, if you watched my last stream of this game, I started off at the very beginning, and I ended up taking Alucard as my character, which is Dracula's son. And I really shouldn't have done that. And then I kind of got stuck. So, after the stream, I went and I played it again. And this time I took a different path. This time I took Sypha's path. And I believe I picked up Sypha as my character to take along with me now. So I'm just going to put in this really stupid password. I hate this. I hate the password system in this one. I mean, Castlevania 2 oops, isn't any better. Where is it? No, that's not her. This one's kind of annoying, especially if you have to jot it down after you're done playing the game. You almost have to draw in the little box and then draw in the symbols and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm here. I maybe thought I completed this, but I guess I didn't. I'm on the boat. What do I need to do? Just gonna take Sypha. I need to build up her weapon. Oh, I'm in trouble. Love how it gives you that there, you don't even need it. Oops. So out of all the characters, I think Sypha is one of the strongest. But still falls to the falls to her death when that happens. In fact, Dracula's son, or Alucard, is the only one who has a hope that he can actually not die when he gets thrown off a cliff. If you can turn into a bat fast enough, that is. Sypha's weapon is just crazy. Like that fire flame thing. Oh crap, I grabbed the watch. Forgot it was there. The watch annoys me, but sometimes it comes in handy. I hate this guy. I think when I played this, when I replayed it to get to this character instead, I think I got to the end of this level, but I didn't defeat the end boss or something. Oh, that was dumb. That was really dumb. Alright. Okay. And I got no lives left. That's not good. Sometimes I debate, should I even bother going on, because things like, you don't want to get all the way through the game, or to the end there, and get one chance at the boss, and then lose, and then have to go all the way back. That sucks, so I just kill off the last character, or last life, and start again. It's no big deal. You can always do that when a game has endless continues. Let's just kill that guy. Somehow I'll remember not to get the watch. I think the watch is right there, so I don't want it. I hate when you accidentally grab it, though. Just gonna take a minute here to sure my stream is going well. Okay, good. I always like to check just in case it didn't disconnect on me and I'm not doing anything. I did it again. No! Dang it. Probably the worst part of this game is falling to your death on the most simplest places. But you have to get the hearts because you won't have any whoa, almost grabbed it. You won't have any power to use your weapon if you don't. And Sypha uses her weapon a lot. I mean, that stick that she has, this thing, or whatever that is, wand or cane, or whatever it is. I know the, oh, I did it again. Oh my goodness. Die! I know the, Castlevania Season 2 just came out on Netflix. And, Sypha was introduced, I think, near the end of the, series. The end of the first season. So she's gonna play a huge part in the, probably in the second season. Haven't watched it yet. It just came out. But I will be for sure. I haven't even checked how many episodes there are. Stupid clock. The worst is when you have the best weapon and you have like the 2 or the 3, so you can throw 2 or 3 of them and then you accidentally grab the dagger or the block or something. Happens more than you want. Okay. So I'm gonna take the stairs. I don't wanna risk it. I don't like the boat. Yeah. I think there's food over here somewhere. Looking for some wall meat. I'll just deal with him like that. It's like I like about her weapon is that it pretty much wipes out everything in front of you. Things that would normally take like 2 or 3 whacks, I think just knocks them all out. Great, the red guys, that means they come back up. There we go, wall meat. Not sure, but it looks like the wall meat in this game gives you more power than the first game. Could be wrong. This level reminds me of the, it's the second level, or the second stage in Castlevania 1, where you have to, like, deal with the Medusa heads. Oh, it's not as hard. Nothing there, nothing there. I was thinking of, instead of Sypha, just sticking with Grant. Trying to complete the game with just Grant. But, since I haven't played this game in a long time, I think I should stick with Sypha. She's strong. What's really interesting in this game is that they make Sypha out to be a man in the beginning, as if it's a man. Like, Trevor Belmont doesn't know that it's a woman. You actually don't find out, I think, until the end when you complete it. She takes off her cloak and it turns out to be a woman. It's like, how did she, like, disguise herself to that point that he just never noticed? Hey, Billy-O! What's going on, Billy-O? Yes, Halloween! It's coming. Oh, wait. I guess I can't go down there. Hey, how's it going? Okay, this guy you just, like... No! Should have backed up. That's my problem. I didn't back up. know, with that guy, you're just supposed to stand back and just flame him to death. Ah, I missed the heart. No. That's not good. I really needed it. And I need that, and I can't get it. Hearts are precious. Without them, I can't use my weapon. And I'm stuck with that crappy... whatever she's using. Stick, club, wand, sword. I don't know what it is. It's not a sword. It doesn't look like a sword. It looks like a beating stick. I wish I didn't lose the first one, though. I wanted all my lives for this round. Oh well. I don't know if I die, if I'm going to start right at the beginning of the boat. Or if I'll start off here. Can't remember. Always look for wall meat. There we go. Good old wall meat. Leg of the werewolf. I think that's what they call it in this game anyways. I have to dig up my old manual. Pretty sure I still kept the box in the manual for this one. Downstairs in my box of mystery manuals and boxes. The few Nintendo game boxes that I decided to keep, or that I actually bought from the store. A lot of my Nintendo games I ended up buying them used after the fact, and no box, no nothing, just cartridge. It'd be cool if it came out in a VR version. That'd be kind of trippy. I'm so dead. I'm like, no power left. Nothing. This is where the boss is. And I don't think there's any more wall meat either. Death. Yeah, I don't think I ever used Trevor on this level either. Should probably explore that. Maybe he'd be better at some of these enemies like the, this thing. I really hate these bird things or owls or... I always get hit by them. One way or another. Okay, you die now. Oh, I don't have a weapon. Crap! Ah, that's depressing. I only have half life now. I had to use my weapon there. Well, at least it stocks you up before you have to go face this, but I don't know how I'm going to do with half the life bar. These guys I think would be better off with Trevor, maybe. Fight these stupid... Yeah, I probably should have powered up Trevor for the second guy. You have to hit him in the head. You don't have a lot of reach. Dang it. Ah, crap. Start all the way back here, too. This boat level always gives people the hardest time. I think the last time I remember trying to play this game again, I got stuck in the boat and couldn't get out. Don't want you. Crap. Ugh. Let's try Simon. Or Simon. Trevor! Not Simon. It's Trevor. Gotta build up his weapon. He's probably better off killing these flying things than Cypher is. No! Jumped to my death. That was fun. How do you feel about Nintendo shutting down the ROM sites? I understand their side of it, but it's frustrating that many of the games aren't available to purchase legitimately. Yeah, actually, remember when that started, the news of that started going around, a lot of people were saying the same thing. You know, if they want to target the ROM sites and they want to shut them all down, sure, but at the same time they need to make it like they really should make it easier for people to play Nintendo games, the classic games, and not just be like, you only gotta play on the new stuff. Like, they even shut down that Wii store for the Nintendo Wii, so you can't even download on the Nintendo Wii legally now. You have to use like the Switch or something like that. And then, I mean, they had the right idea coming out with the, oh crap, the flashback, or what do they call it, the classic. Good idea, just not initiated properly. First of all, only giving 30 ROMs, that's a joke. I mean, that's pathetic. And then under creating them, or whatever they did, you know, creating a shortage of them. Like, I still never seen one in the store. I've seen the SNES Classic. Once, in a Walmart. But I've never seen an NES Classic in the store, even on the re-release, I've never seen one. And, not that I would want one. I mean, it's too much money. For what you're getting out of it, it just wouldn't be for me. Yeah, like, the ROM sites are there, but there's something to be said about playing on ROMs, too. I mean, they're not always going to be the best quality. You might be using a crappier controller or something that's not Nintendo quality. No, I'm stuck on the stairs. Ah, that was just terrible. I was stuck on the stairs. I couldn't get off. Ooh. I mean, oh no, I made a mistake. I should have grabbed Sci-Fi's weapon. Die. Uh-oh. Stuck. Ooh, that was close. Didn't think I was gonna pass that one. Yeah, and they only make a select few of the games available. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, they should... I thought when they first announced the NES Classic, I figured, okay, they put, what, 30 games on it? I think it's 30. They put a smaller list of games, and they would probably create a new one, you know, every once in a while. Like, maybe come up with a sports one or something, you know, have all the sports classics on it, or come up with an arcade classic hits one. You know, I thought that's what their plan was, but it doesn't look like that's so far what they're doing. They created the SNES Classic, and there's even less games on that one, I think. And then, re-released the same NES Classic with the same games, and everything is pretty much the same. They didn't really change much. They just kind of re-released it as it was. And then they made now there's talk of an N64 Classic, and then there's going to be a PlayStation Classic coming out at some point, which, whatever. I don't really care too much for that. But I mean, as far as like playing classic Nintendo, you got emulation, you download the ROMs, find the ROM somewhere, which I don't really believe they're going to go anywhere, because Nintendo can try and shut down as many sites as they want. They're still not going to stop people from uploading them every once in a while. It's just not going to happen. Someone's going to still upload them all. You know, it's the internet. You can't stop the internet. It's like every time you shut down one site, 10 more pop up, right? So I don't think Nintendo's really going to be successful, but they did kind of, I guess, I don't know, made some of the bigger sites that's had ROMs, or have ROMs, kind of rethink things. Whether it's all Nintendo or, I don't know. Might not be Nintendo. Oops, I forgot to get Sypha's weapon. I don't know if I can get it here. Nope. I'm screwed. And I don't have any lives left either. Crap. Yeah, I'm dead. I don't know. I was excited when I saw the NES Classic when they announced it, like everybody else. It was exciting to see something like that hitting the market, you know. Because we all knew that they're not going to be releasing another Nintendo system like the way they did. Chances are they won't. You know, the whole... like, actually releasing a console that plays games. Cartridges, I should say. They're just not. It's not in their best interest to do so. There's no money in it. So if you want to play the classics, you gotta almost buy an original Nintendo and then source out the games, which is not too hard. I mean, there's a lot of Nintendos out there for sale. Go to any flea market, you'll probably find at least one retro gaming booth that sells classic games, and they might have Nintendos there. You can probably buy one for like less than $100. Then get the games you like. They're usually 10 to 40, somewhere in there. So I mean, it's still possible to get the original stuff. So it just, I thought it was neat that they came out with this NES Classic, which is like a simple plug and play. Where do I have to go now? Up the tower? It turned out that Trevor was better to fight that villain than Sypha. I remember this level. God, I probably should keep the axe, maybe. You don't really see like any of the other companies really doing that either. But Nintendo has always been big on protecting their IP. I mean, usually when you play video games like I do online, you play Nintendo stuff, you're pretty much going to get a copyright strike on any of their real popular titles. I don't know if I'll get one on this one. I might. I know I got it on Castlevania 2. I think even on Castlevania 1. For the music. Hey, it's Team Optimus. Yeah, Castlevania 4 it's a good one too. I never completed that one. It's the only one out of the first, you know, few Castlevanias to come out that I never completed. Well, that and the second Game Boy game, which I never knew existed for a long time. I think though, when I got my Super Nintendo, I wasn't playing games as often at the time. By the time I got around to actually purchasing and getting my hands on some of these games for the Super Nintendo, I was still, you know, playing on regular NES. And by the time I got around to actually purchasing and playing on a Super Nintendo, I think at that time in my life, wasn't playing a whole lot of games anymore. was preoccupied with a lot of other things going on. Wasn't gaming as often, so I didn't get a chance to really sit there and play the heck out of the 4th Castlevania game. And these gargoyle-y things are annoying. Of course, the stairs are always annoying too. You just one wrong move, you fall off the whole freaking staircase. And that. I've been trying to play that one that I downloaded on my Wii, the Castlevania Rebirth, I think it's called. That one kind of reminds me of Castlevania 4, kinda. Only it doesn't have all the... it goes back to the whip acting like this one, where it's just like single direction whip. You can't do all those fancy stuff that you can do in Castlevania 4, where you can flip your whip around and shoot it diagonally and all that stuff. I mean, Castlevania 4 had it right with, you know, the game working the way you would think a game like this would work. Walmarts in the US have plenty of NES classics now. Somebody would send you one if you really want to pick one up. I don't know, the cost on that probably would be a little bit high. Especially when you're converting it to Canada money. Our money is really crazy. I look at, ooh. There's something I was looking at. I was really thinking of picking up. It's an Atari game. Atari 7800 game I was thinking of picking up. It's like $40 US. And I'm like, converting that to Canadian. Yeah. It's gonna be a lot more than $40. Here's one for you. I could have gotten a television with 8 or 9 games, 30 bucks at a flea market a few months ago. Nice! And you didn't grab it. Well. Although one thing I might need to be in the market for, I don't know, is maybe another ColecoVision. I'm kind of not sure what I should do. My ColecoVision's acting up. The first joystick port is not working properly, so the fire buttons don't work on the controller. So I tried taking my Coleco apart and seeing if I could resolder and see what's going on with it, but no luck. I mean, that's not something I'm really good at, so... like I found when I bend on the controller port, I can get the fire button to start working again, but then, you know, I have to kind of put something in there to bend the controller piece, and it's not really stable. So it's either I just play with port 2, which means I'll have to play every game as a 2-player game, and wait for the first player to just die so I can play. Or I have to find somebody who can actually do a repair on it, like actually replace the port switch, which, you know, who knows how much that would cost and how long it will take, and probably you'll have to ship it off somewhere, and that alone would cost me probably the same amount of money as just buying a new or another one. Well, there is no new ones, but mind you, there is that ColecoVision thing that's in the works. That could be my other option. I saw it while filming a video for my channel. Oh, cool. Oh, someone just contacted me actually before I started this on Twitter. Someone left a message in my Twitter saying that they found their old Intellivision in the basement, and I think she said her husband wants to just take it to the Value Village and just drop it off there, and she was asking me if I knew a better place to take it. I'm like, hey, how much do you want for it? Like, you know, an Intellivision with games. I mean, not that I need it, but I mean, I'd give it a nice home. Better than dropping it off in a Value Village when who knows what's going to happen to it. I could always use a spare just in case mine decides to go on me. It's that collector vision thing coming out soon. I don't know, I'm seeing lots of videos on it. John from Gamester81, he did a video on it just recently. I think from the PRGE thing. I don't know if they actually had a working one on display or what the deal was with that. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Hey, this is crazy. Run, run, run. I always like to try and get Trevor to a point where if I die I can start off there. I don't know if that's possible right now or if I have to get through a door. Oh no, I'm dead. Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious about that. I mean, there's lots of those systems out there, like the Retrons and stuff like that. You know, which started off being like a Nintendo kind of system, but they're emulator systems. Like they supposedly they dump the ROM from the cartridge and then they play the ROM or something. Like it doesn't actually play natively off the cartridge, whereas this system, this collector vision system, is supposed to be like almost the same kind of guts that a ColecoVision would have, so it actually plays the cartridge. It's not like an emulation of it. You know, so that right there kind of scores a lot of points for it. If the collector vision has HDMI output, then I might get one. I think it would. I don't know why they would not have that. It seems kind of an odd thing to kind of put out today. Would be something without HDMI. I mean, a lot of the point of these things is to get you to be able to play these games on a modern TV, right? And that's pretty much what modern TVs are. It's all HDMI now. There's no more, you know. Some of these modern TVs barely even have RCA cable connections, or I think some of them don't even have coax. Because I know there's been lots of talk about that, about not being able to like plug in coax. So you'd have to like buy some kind of converter thing just to run the system natively off the TV. Yeah, I have the flashback as well, the ColecoVision flashback. It's not bad. I actually brought it with me on vacation in the summer. Brought it to Great Wolf Lodge, of all places, when I was playing ColecoVision on vacation. Oh crap, Frankenstein. Most hated of enemies. But at least he doesn't have that stupid hunchback eye like he does in the first game. My god, I hate Frankie in the first game. Sweet. He did. Man, I went to that whole level without using Sypha. It's pretty funny. Oh, the hunchbacks are here. Yeah, so I'll see what happens if that person... I'm not sure who it was. I guess somebody that's following me or somebody that knows me, knows I'm into that stuff, just contacted me saying that they're looking to get rid of an Intellivision system. I don't know where they're from, so I'm gonna... I mean, they're American or whatever. I mean, I don't mind paying the shipping if it's reasonable. Sometimes it's not, but... I mean, when I bought my Atari 400, the computer, which I did a few videos on. I got lucky, and the person that was selling it is actually not too far from where I live. Or, sorry, from where, well, they were down not too far from where I work, I should say. And so, the guy was able to just literally drop it off for me. And I didn't have to worry about sending it through the mail and worrying about the mail costs and the damage that you can get in the mail. That's the other thing, you always have to worry about sending these things over the mail, is how they're going to be treated. But, I mean, I got lucky with my Atari 7800. I bought that off eBay, and it arrived in one piece. So, but I have seen horror stories where people don't properly package the game up, or the system up, I should say. They don't put it in bubble wrap or anything, and they just kind of leave it loose in a box as if, you know, the mail people are going to be nice. Also, another thing is, while I'm recording this, anyways, our lovely postal system, Canada Post, is on strike, so it's a rolling strike, so it's not affecting everybody, but it just kind of moves around. They were in our area, I think last week? Or my part of town. So, that's another problem too. But whatever. Now there is, at my local flea market, where I go quite a bit now, or as often as I can, this lovely lady who runs the video game booth, she has a lot of old stuff as well, and she prices really well. I mean, she wants to beat all the competition, essentially. She doesn't look at every game as, you know, this is worth $100. And so she's really good pricing, and she knows, you know, I come in there all the time, I talk with her all the time, so she's usually pretty fair with me, and I've gotten some pretty sweet deals from her. And she has a ColecoVision in box, which I've been really tempted to ask her how much she would want for it. Of course, I have to test it out and see if it works. But, yeah, I've been thinking of that. So there was this other video game store not too far away from where I live, that I go to every once in a while, and they also had a ColecoVision in box, and the last time I was there, it was gone, so I think somebody grabbed it. Somebody probably grew up with it and was like, hey, I remember that system, and actually picked it up. So I have quite a few games for the system. I mean, it'd be a shame that I can't play it anymore because of the stupid controller port breaking on me. Oh, yes. The roller controller. I have that, actually. I think I only played it, or used it once after I bought it. Bought it at a flea market. No, not a flea market. Thrift shop. I think it was in their auction area. I think I bid on it, and I ended up winning it. Oh, crap. I hate this guy. Yeah, I think I've only used it once, probably. But again, you have to plug it into your controller port thing, so... And it does have a dock that allows you to connect controllers to it. Maybe as an experiment, I should hook it up and see if it still works, even though my controller port's messed up. Just as a fun experiment, see if I hook it up, if it'll work and I can still play games on it. Essentially, it's got the two wires. You plug it into the two controller ports, and then in the base of the system, I think it has. Pretty sure it has an area where you can plug the original controllers in, so you can kind of leave it plugged in, so you don't have to like unplug it every time you want to play a different game that doesn't involve the rollerball. So then I can, like, I don't know. You never know. If you have Slither... Yeah, I do have Slither. It came with it. So, because I bought it in the box, and it had the original controller, the rollerball controller, had the game inside, the Slither game. I think I have another game that works with it, too. There's a few games. And the thing that really... that irritated me was I bought those Super Action controllers on eBay. The joystick-style controller thing with the buttons. That's meant for playing games like Rocky. And I think it was because of that, of me unplugging the controller. Because the controllers have been plugged in for a long time. And it's been sitting for a long time, so probably me trying to unplug it and trying to pull the controller out, which was really stiff. That's probably what kind of jogs something loose on the connectors. I'm playing this really terribly. So I think that's what happened, was just me changing the control ports, the controllers, to put in those Super Action controllers. And then when I unplugged it again, that's when I wrecked the controller port, because these things are old. I mean, the electronics are old in them. The soldering can dry up. And it doesn't take much to aggravate them that, you know, one little connection comes loose. Gotta stop jumping. Jumping is killing me in this. But yeah, so I don't know, maybe I should try it. It'd be fun. It'd be an experiment. If anything, maybe I can get that Slither game to work. I know the controller deck itself has its own buttons too, so it's been a while since I tried it. Actually, I was gonna do an experiment with it too to see if it even works on the Atari. Never tried that. The thought never came to mind that maybe I can plug it into my Atari and get some games to work with it. I don't know if it will though. I know the Atari 2600 does have a rollerball. They did have one available for it. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm so dead. Jeez. This level's just kicking my ass. Sypha. Although Sypha's gonna be hard to deal with these hunchback guys. Ah, crap. Just die. That was not cool. Well, I'm really curious to see, you know, obviously we're 2 years away, but the new Intellivision Amico, which promises to have, like, the original Intellivision games available. Now, they are talking about reimagined games as well, so I don't know 100% if the classic titles will be available on it as they were, or if they'll just be all reimagined, like new looks and stuff to them. But, I mean, that seems promising. To have something like a modern-day console properly be able to play the original Intellivision games. Because that's been my thing. This whole time, you know, emulation is great. I kind of wish I had the Intellivision Flashback to try. I've never seen one for sale. I only saw the ColecoVision one and the Atari one, which I have, you know, now I have both. But I've never seen the Intellivision one for sale. And, just to give it a shot to see what it would be like, but one of my problems with all those, Intellivision, well, like the Flashback or Television Lives, the ones that came out for PlayStation and PC. I mean, it's great and all, but you can't use like an Intellivision controller properly. Anyways, you can. I know there's ways to rig up an Intellivision controller, to actually take an Intellivision controller and rig it up to make it like a USB. But I mean, that's a lot of like monkeying around on a real controller. You have to get the proper parts, you have to solder it and stuff, and or do whatever you have to do. It's not something you just really buy out of a package and connect it to your computer. And when you play Intellivision on like PlayStation and stuff, you kind of miss using the original controller. I know a lot of people hate it, or they say it's the worst controller ever. But I never thought that way. I kind of like the Intellivision controller. Perhaps I grew up with it, so I know it, so it doesn't bother me as much. Ow. But a lot of people like really hate the controller for the Intellivision. In fact, I'm even hearing a lot of that with the Miko. People are like, you know, what's up with the controller? Why are they copying the original Intellivision controller? All that kind of stuff. Saying it's the worst controller in history, and I don't know. No good food. I'm really having a hard time finding out if I should switch to Sypha. Let's just do it. Uh-oh. I just remembered this is where those friggin' blocks start to fall. Crud. Somehow I managed to get through that. Oh, I think I know this one. Yes, I remember this one. I actually think Trevor's better for that one. Stick with Trevor Belmont. The real vampire hunter. Now, one thing I am kind of excited about too is the Atari Flashback 9. I don't know if it's on the shelves yet, or if it's going to be released soon. But apparently you can actually load ROMs on it with a patch. So not out of the box. Okay, not reaching it. I gotta figure out how to do this. So, out of the box, you cannot load ROMs onto the SD card and play it, but there's apparently a patch you can download, or some kind of download thing you can do that will allow for it. Oh no! And that was the one thing that's always been lacking from the flashback systems. Now, it kind of makes sense because their whole thing was to be able to re-release a new one each year and add new games or more games to it. And if you can just add them on yourselves, you would never want to buy another one again. Which is, you know, it makes sense. Oh, crap. Stupid fishman. Makes sense in a business point of view, but for the player, it kind of is annoying, right? That's why I really like the Flashback Portable. The Flashback Portable for the Atari used the same body design as the Sega Flashback Portable, which had the SD card in it. And so they gave us that ability right off the get-go to actually load the ROMs onto a SD card. But there was some limitations with the Flashback Portable. Some games didn't work properly, some games didn't work at all, like the, what was it, Pitfall 2, you can't get to work on the Flashback Portable. Even I noticed, Princess Rescue, which is a, homebrew, meaning that it was programmed by somebody long after the lifespan of the Atari. Oh jeez, button failure. And, crap. Ah. It's pretty much a, Super Mario Brothers game on the Atari. And of course that doesn't work properly because it requires 2 buttons, and the Atari only came with 1. Okay, I'm just gonna let this guy kill me. There's no point. So, if you try and download Super Mario, well, Princess Rescue on your Atari Flashback Portable, it'll work, but you can't throw the fireballs. So it's kind of a... It's like playing Super Mario Brothers, but never getting the fire plant, or being able to run, which would be almost impossible. I really like the disc, just the side fire buttons are kind of awkward to use, but that's part of the charm of playing on those videos. Yeah, and I remember watching... I've been watching a lot of videos about the Amico, just to see what other YouTubers are saying about it. And yeah, that has come up a few times, the side buttons. Even, I think, maybe it was Pat the NES Punk, and Ian. You watch those guys. I think they even brought it up, you know, the whole side button is old technology, it should never be on a modern console. I think I saw someone else say it too, like, you know, the whole side button is just a bad idea. I don't know. I mean, when you're dealing with a controller like the Intellivision, you almost have to have the side buttons because of the way the disc is designed. You wouldn't be able to, you know, where else would you put the buttons? So you'd almost have to, like, forego the... you'd have to forego the disc controller. Which, you know, I'm sure a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, get rid of that too. Because everybody just wants the gamepad now, right? They want the best kind of gamepad. And sure, it's true. I mean, gamepads are probably the better design, I think, for controlling at least these kinds of games. This is why some people will use a Sega Genesis controller when they play their Atari. They don't want to use the classic Atari joystick. I'm fine with using the classic Atari joystick. I prefer to play the system the way it was intended to be played. So I don't often plug in a gamepad into my Atari, but a lot of people do. And, like, they'll only play it that way. That's fine, you know, give people options. I mean, there were lots of options with different style controllers and stuff back in the day, too. It wasn't just the only one controller that you could use. Again, that's one of the downsides with the Intellivision, was the original Intellivision. The controllers, in the original, I'm talking about the first Intellivision, controllers were not designed to be removed. Sure, you can take the system apart and unplug the controllers. I did it myself. I had to replace one of my controllers on my system with another one. You know, one I found in a thrift shop. I found a secondary Intellivision, and I kind of took it apart, and I Frankensteined together another my Intellivision that I use today with the working controllers of another Intellivision. So it can be done, but I mean, you have to take the system apart to do it. They're not designed to be removed. Then the Intellivision 2 came along, and they were like, well, you know, perhaps we should make it easier for people to replace the controllers. But that was mainly for ease of replacement if the controller dies. It wasn't meant to say, let's make all these new, or, you know, different kinds of control pads. It was meant to say, your controller dies, because really, on the original Intellivision, the people who grew up with it anyways back in the day, if your controller died, you were kind of out of luck. Like, it's not like you could just go to the store and buy a replacement one. I don't think they sold them like that. Because, you know, they're hardwired into the system. They weren't meant to be released, or, you know, removed from the actual casing. The Intellivision was never designed that way to say, let's use multiple controllers. So yes, the controllers have been a big discussion piece with the Intellivision. And what a lot of people say was the big problem with it. I mean, the ColecoVision used a very similar style controller, but from the get-go, they designed it that you can pop those controllers out, put new ones in, of your choice. You can even put an Atari one in there. You're just going to be missing all the buttons, which is kind of critical to starting a new game. When you need to be able to select one or whatever on the keypad, you can't do it with an Atari controller. And of course the infamous Atari 5200 had a very similar issue. They made the same mistake of, well, not the same mistake, but they made a big mistake on making the controller ports different. They went away from the typical 9-pin, created their own kind of port for it. So, kind of out of luck when it comes to Atari 5200. I'm dead. Not doing too well in this level. I don't think Sypha would help me on this level. I really think Trevor is the right one for this one. You need the reach of the whip. I've been trying to get an emulator to work properly on my computer. Probably make some controller improvement. Yeah, actually Tommy already said they have changed the buttons a bit from the actual launch trailer that we saw in the trailer. He mentioned it he just did an interview with another YouTube channel. Crap. And he brought that up, that they've already changed the placement and the sizing, I think, of the button, to make it more easier. So yeah, I mean, we're really just on the cusp of this thing. I mean, it hasn't really, it's far from being released. I mean, we've got 2 years to go, right? In about a year, they're going to start opening it up to the programmers, start actually creating stuff for it. And we already know he's already stated that the next release video that they do, or release thing that they do, they're going to show gameplay. So, I mean, so far he hasn't steered us wrong. Everything he said that they were going to do and bring out a couple of months ago, before the first actual release trailer, he did it. So, all these people that are going on about it being a scam, I don't know. I don't think they're looking at it that way. You know, if it's a scam, he's putting a hell of a lot of work, and he's involving a hell of a lot of professional video game designers and stuff in there pull off some elaborate scam, so that just seems a little bit off to me. I think there's just been too many failures in the retro gaming community, you know, of these systems that they promised to make, and, you know, the Coleco Chameleon being one of them, where we were expecting to see this kind of new system come out that I still don't fully understand what the Coleco Chameleon was supposed to do. If it was supposed to play the original Coleco games or what, I don't know. But it never came to be, so it really doesn't matter at this point. These guys annoy me. I'm sure there will be a lot of changes to the Amico that we will slowly start to, we'll get the information eventually. I don't think they're going to keep us up to date with everything on, you know, every second of the way, because, you know, too many changes will happen. They're really in the whole dev phase right now, making sure the games will work. Crap, I keep doing that. The word scam is being a little bit overused. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense. There's a lot of scams out there. We always have to be careful. And this is what, I mean, this is the big thing that Tommy Tallarico has been trying to tell people, is that this system is not going to take anybody's money until there's a product that people can actually see in action. I mean, you're not going to be, like, the whole point of the non-crowdfunding, that he's not doing the whole thing the Atari VCS is doing, what is it, Indiegogo or whatever they're using? You know, taking money before actually having a product, before people actually see what this thing can do, what they're actually putting their money into. He's not doing that. I mean, he could have done that, but he's not. It's not something that anybody's going to be able to spend any kind of money on until the thing is ready to launch. Like, the day you put your money into it is the day it's available on the shelf for anybody else to buy. That's his whole thing. So for people to call it a scam or a money-grabbing thing, it's a joke. And then to say, like I even watched a video today where somebody was comparing them to the AtGames products. Saying, you know, why do we need this? We have the AtGames flashback systems. I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is not a flashback system. Yes, it will have the Intellivision name attached to it, but simply just because it has the Intellivision name, and yes, it's going to have available on it the original games, but that's not all it's for. It's not just a flashback system, right? To simply just call it that means you're not doing your research. You're not really finding out what the system's all about. You're not really listening to what they're actually saying, because it's not just a flashback system. If it was, then yes, Tommy would be out of his mind. If all he was trying to do was just create a system that would just replay the old Intellivision games, yeah, he's out of his mind, because that's something that AtGames has already done with their flashback system, the Intellivision flashback, which didn't do too well. I mean, it's pretty obvious it didn't do too well, because there's no plans for them to make a second one, or to even re-release it. But that's not what he's going for. He's not going for the, let's just re-release all the old games. He wants to create a modern system that'll play new games for people like, well, people like me, for instance, who like these 2D style games, who enjoy them, but can't buy new ones anymore because they rarely exist. I mean, sure, you get the odd title on PS4 or something, or that Cupman or whatever it is. People say that that's, like, you know, very similar to 2D style. But that's not the majority of what you see. Like, when you go to the store today and you look at modern games, a lot of them are Call of Duty type games. Like, they're nothing like this. And then they say, oh, you know, you can just go and get an Ouya and buy a flashback system. Yes, I have all the old games. I still have all the old games. But the point is, I can't get anything new because everything new is not what I want to play. I'm not a modern gamer by any stretch of the means. Most of these games are intimidating to me, and I really understand what Tommy's saying. Crap. When he says, you know, put an Xbox controller in my grandmother's hands and see what happens. You know, tell her to play Fortnite, or, you know, whatever's out on the shelf. Right now, everybody's talking about this Red Dead Redemption game, which when I looked at footage of that, it looks like a movie to me. It doesn't look like a game. Yeah, you put an Xbox controller in someone's who's not a gamer, they're not going to be able to play it. They're going to look at you like, what are you insane? Just think how many people have a hard time using their frickin' DVD controllers, putting it on a channel nowadays. How hard that is. You know, that being said, I mean, there's something to be said about the target audience, right? And that's fine. Like, he's already said he's not going to compete with Xbox. That's not his intention. His intention is to not build a brand new machine that's going to best the Xbox and the PlayStation market, or convert the players of that system over to his system. That's never been his intention in the first place. So to be comparing it to those systems is just, it doesn't make sense. And then to simply just conclude that, well, if it's not, then it's not going to sell very well. Either way, if he tried to go up against PlayStation and tried to make something modern and three-dimensional and all that other stuff, it would probably fail anyways. Because they're already dedicated to the PlayStations and the Xboxes. And, you know, not that I have anything against those systems or anything. I mean, I kind of respect that the gaming world has progressed and moved on. It's just not the type of stuff that I like. So why not make stuff that's for everybody, you know, not just the modern gamer. I appear to be stuck in this level. Oh well. Bye. Well, I guess it just comes down to we'll just have to wait and see. Ah. My timing is off. Yeah, I can't get through this area without getting a huge chunk of life points taken away. Put it down and come back. And just to go on the discussion of the whole flashback things, I recently just found out that the Commodore 64, I think they call it the Commodore, the C64 Mini or the Commodore Mini, something like that. Starting to see those in stores now. The price a little high than what I'd want to pay. Right now they're going in Canada here anyways. The stores that I've been in, they're about $99. So you're at least paying $100 plus tax. And so that means you're going to be paying close to $120 for this little plastic emulation box. But I just heard that this system also has the ability to load ROMs onto it. So at first when I knew about this thing, I knew it came preloaded. And so I was kind of concerned about that. You know, preloaded games. Again, it's not very comforting knowing I spend that kind of money and I can never add another game to it. Just whatever it comes with, that's all I can play. Kind of like my Flashback 8 for the Atari and the ColecoVision Flashback. There's no way to load ROMs onto it, so I can never play Donkey Kong on it or anything else. It never came on the system. But this Commodore 64, again, it requires a firmware update, but still, it makes it possible that you can do it. So I'm kind of curious about that one too. Not that I'll ever probably have $100 to spend on it, but still makes it something to keep on the radar. Maybe the price will come down one day. Maybe I'll find it in the store where it's like 50% off. You never know. Because at first the thing was off my radar when I realized that it came preloaded with games, and you can't add games to it, but now apparently you can. Through a micro SD slot, I believe it is. Ugh. I'm gonna die. That's okay. Because I do believe I'm stuck on this little... Yeah. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it quits on this one. But yeah, I've been playing for what? An hour and 40 minutes or so? I don't know. Maybe an hour. But it was a lot of fun. Thanks for everybody coming in. Thanks for... was Uncon Bentonol, if I said that right. And Team Optimus was in here in the chat. Anybody else? And we had Billy O in the beginning there. I'm just gonna go through there. But yeah, thanks for coming in. I normally don't stream around this time. I just had some time off, and I was just thinking, hey, why not do a stream? I'm probably gonna be busy tonight, so I'll have to do it now. But yeah, it was fun just trying to catch up on Castlevania 3. We'll see if I end up doing any more streams from now until Halloween. I mean, it's the Sunday before Halloween. Halloween's coming on a Wednesday this year. So, who knows? Maybe tomorrow night, if I have chance, if I have time, I'll do it. But, thanks for coming in on the chat. Just want to say a good thanks to everybody. And we'll be seeing you soon.